Welcome, everybody, to the Jim Masters Show Live. I am your host, Jim Masters. It is Saturday night. That's right. Great entertainment and conversation coming your way right here live worldwide on the Jim Masters Show Live, our entertainment lifestyle talk show series. We've been doing about 19 weeks as of next week here. It's great to have you with us. Hope everybody's having a terrific day. And it's really a terrific day here because my special guest is actor and writer, the incomparable Richard Pryor Jr. is going to join us in just a minute. He's excited to be here. We're excited to welcome him to the show. He's a good friend, and it'll be a pleasure to have a conversation with him and catch up on the things he's working on. He has a phenomenal book as well we're going to talk about, and much, much more. Of course, you know his legendary father, the incomparable comedian, and he's one of the funniest guys. He's been one of the funniest guys on the earth when it comes to comedy. The late Richard Pryor. And whenever you say that name, everybody just goes, I love him, I love him, I love him. Of course, Richard Pryor Jr. has carved out his own career, his own life, and he's a prolific writer. He's done comedy. He was in the Navy. He's a family man, and so much more. I tell you, he's got a wonderful life, and we're so excited to have him here on the show. He's going to share it with us. You may remember, too, I'd say it's about a month and a half ago, we had his sister Rain Pryor on as well. She's also a dear friend, and at that time, she was running for office in Baltimore, and we had a phenomenal conversation with Rain as well. So looking forward to welcoming Richard Pryor Jr. in just a second. We hope everybody is doing well. Of course, we toast everybody here on the Jim Masters Show Live. That is what we do. We welcome everybody, and we toast you and you and you and you. We just have a little Trader Joe's organic iced tea lemonade in here. I know it looks fancy with a martini glass. Just some organic iced tea lemonade from Trader Joe's. And it's pretty good. Hope you guys are doing well. For those of you who are watching for the first time, we always show our cast of characters. And we have George Burns here. He popped on the show a couple of weeks ago, well, several weeks ago now, and everybody fell in love with George. So George is a part of the show just about every night, I would say. So he's got his cigar, he's got his red hanky there, he's got his smile, he greets all of you, sees all of you, and he hopes you guys are doing well. And another one here that everybody loves is Jeannie. Jeannie's in her bottle, and Jeannie looks at you, and you see her blinking? She's in there. She's blinking. Don't you see the beads moving back and forth? She's in there. She greets you as well. Again, if I don't bring these cast of characters out, everybody goes, where are the characters? So we did a nostalgic week, 2-3 months ago, and everybody fell in love with these characters, so they become a part of the show. Every host has their characters, right? Silver, when I was on a television shoot, in Europe, we picked up Silver, the Silver Lab, and everybody has fallen in love with Silver, and Silver's looking at you. Hope you're doing well. And he sort of keeps everything under control here at the Jim Masters Show Live. We do this show out of our home studio we constructed. If you're watching for the first time, I'm a professional television and radio personality, presenter, host, journalist, actor, writer, producer, voiceover artist, narrator, stage MC, and all that jazz. So we launched this show about 19 weeks ago, and it's just taken off like a rocket, and we really appreciate everybody, all the love, all the support, everybody watching, everybody sharing the links, all the guests coming on. It's just been extraordinary. It's exceeded my expectations. Jimmy is here, and Jimmy waves hello to you guys as well, and he's here usually every night. I think I'll have him fill in if I'm ever out of town, if we can do that soon, hopefully. If I'm out of town, Jimmy's here, and it was a childhood toy. And we put him on the show one night. Everybody fell in love with him. And then one last character here. I tell you, I need more arms, right? We had Dreamer Denver on, wife of Bob Denver, phenomenal friend, and we did a phenomenal conversation with her. She was comfortable in her home in West Virginia. She's an actress, radio station owner, producer, wife of Bob Denver, who played Gilligan on Gilligan's Island. And she saw the set, she saw the characters, and she said, Jim, you're missing something. And I said, what could we possibly be missing on this set? She said, you're missing Gilligan. I'm sending you a Gilligan doll so he can be seen on the set every night. So, courtesy of Bob Denver's fabulous wife, Dreamer Denver, we have Gilligan here, and there he is, Bob Denver. Aloha, Jim, Dreamer Denver. That was really a beautiful thing. Of course, he was Gilligan on Gilligan's Island, but he was also Dobie Gillis and so much more. So he's here, and He greets all of you as well, and I hope you guys are doing well. We'll say a couple of quick hellos to our audience all around the world, watching on YouTube at Jim Masters TV, Facebook Jim Masters TV, Periscope and Twitch at Jim Masters TV as well. We encourage you to give some love to that YouTube channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and click the notification bell as well. We're going to be doing a lot more things on YouTube as well, especially coming in October. So love that YouTube channel. Every episode of our series, the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series, is archived on YouTube. This episode as well, with our phenomenal guest, Richard Pryor Jr., is going to be available after it's live. It'll be archived as well on YouTube at Jim Masters TV. So check it out, share the links, and share the lovity. This show is all about light, love, positivity, inspiration, and the word we sort of fell upon, lovity. So everybody that watches is considered a lovity. And wait till Richard Pryor Jr. realizes that the audience is going to fall in love with him and call him one of our lovities. It happens to every single guest. They sort of get indoctrinated into Lovity Hall here. And you guys, sort of created that. Christine in North Carolina says, good evening, Jim and Lovity friends. It's a thrill to have Richard Pryor Jr. on the show tonight. Absolutely, I agree. She's watching on the YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV. Jessica Lynn is here saying, hi, Richard. I'm watching. Willie is here in Holland, in the Netherlands. It's like 1 a.m. for her. So we say thank you, Willie, for watching. Hello, Jim and the Lovities. Crystal Nolan is watching in Connecticut. Hi, Jim and everyone. Happy Saturday. Hope you're having a fantastic weekend. Looking forward to an exciting show full of laughter, inspiration, good conversation, and levity. Wow. You should do our promos. That was really good. Thanks, Crystal. Good to have you here. Debbie Hallie is here. Evening, Jim. Welcome to the show. Kathy Short is here from Cleveland. Good evening, Jim and Lovities as well. Merlin from Innerkip, Ontario, Canada is here. Good evening, Jim and Lovities. Anne is watching in Southern California. Boy, we send all of our love to everybody on the West Coast with those massive fires and the smoke, and it's just a horrific situation. I hope you and your family are safe and sound there in SoCal. Hello, everyone. Wishing you a very blessed weekend. You as well. And please tell Rich, Sonny, this song, Father Grasso sends his love, of course. Yes, another dear friend who you've seen here on the show, my friend Sonny Grasso. His dad, Sonny Grasso as well, was a phenomenal individual. As a matter of fact, they patterned the French Connection after him. It was that legendary New York City detective. This is his son, and he's extraordinary. Good to see you, Sonny. And Richard sees all these comments right now, so he sees that you are here as well. And I hope you and your family are doing well, and I hope you're doing well, Sonny. Good to see you here in New York. Marilyn is watching from Wichita, Kansas. Good night, Jim and all lovities. Good to see you as well. Yeah, we're going to have a good night and hope things are good in Wichita. Francis says, hello, everyone. Good to see you, Francis. Willie and Crystal, they're all toasting. When I raise that glass, everybody toasts. Diane is here. Hello, everyone. Good to see you, Diane. Welcome to the show, Diane. And Richard is clapping, so he's excited. And Christopher Joseph in Ohio is here. Avril Britton is here. She's watching in Hampshire in the United Kingdom. She's here all the time. Hi, Jim, sending all the lovely from Hampshire. Hope you and everyone on the show has a good day. You too, Avril. We love having you here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Jennifer Barry is here. Hi, Jim. Jen is Zen. Ken and I are tent camping outside on the mountain field right now at the drive-in. Jen is Zen, and you're watching our show. That is cool. And Diane is saying hello from Ohio. Irish 43, hello from Indiana. Good to see you. Colin Keegan from Celtic Thunder is here live tomorrow. Irish 43. Linda is here from Ohio. Welcome, Linda, to the Jim Masters Show Live. Danielle Hamilton. Hi, Richard from Ohio. Yes, that is where he's originally from, of course. Lots of Ohioans are here on the show, too, which is great. Mary Bishop is here. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you. Alex Harris. Hey, Alex. Hope you're doing well. It's good to see you. Hey, buddy from L.A. It's been a while since we saw each other. I think it was a beautiful gathering we were at, a gala event in Manhattan. Hope to see you again, and it's good to see you on the show. We're here every night live, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, with great guests, entertainment, and more. And we've been doing it every single night of the week. Can you imagine that? I do this show 7 nights a week, and this is going to be our 19th week, and we're close to 150 episodes, and we kicked this off in May. And welcome to Richard and Lovely Hall, and I'm going to welcome him right now on the show. But first, I just want to tell you a little bit about him, and he'll fill in, of course, all the rest when I welcome him to the show. He's all positioned and he's all set up and he's all excited to be here. And we really appreciate him taking the time to join us here on the show. Again, he and I met several times when he was performing with Sister Rain at the Metropolitan Room in New York City, and then we've all stayed in touch, which I think is a beautiful thing when that happens. Of course, he was born in Pryor, Illinois, and Ohio is watching, Illinois is watching, Indiana is watching. So we notice there's a lot of Ohioans here, and he was born right next door there in Illinois, April 10th. 1962, at only 6 months, the firstborn son of Richard Pryor and his first wife, Patricia. They had to stay in the hospital. He had to stay in the hospital for several weeks until he reached 5 pounds because he was so small. His parents had to buy doll socks to fit his feet. Raised by his mom and grandparents, because his dad, of course, was away on tour for some 3 years, Richard attended public school in Peoria and spent summers with his dad. As a child, he would introduce his father's shows, which was an opportunity that led really to the way he's fallen in love with performing. While in grade school, Richard became interested also in music, so he took up the trombone, but soon found that blowing his own horn caused his lips to actually itch. So in 6th grade, he switched to drama class and has been performing in one way or another ever since. In high school, Richard started writing his own scripts and appearing in variety shows once or twice a year. Not only did he sing in the gospel choir at church, which he attended weekly with his mom, but he also sang in the choir at school and was cast in mystery plays, talent shows, variety shows, and musicals, including South Pacific. During those years, Richard was clearly setting the foundation for his future. Upon graduating in 1980, Richard headed for L.A., he joined the Screen Actors Guild, and he did extra work on his father's films and productions. He was a production associate on The Color Purple and even dabbled in stand-up comedy, working at the Comedy Store in Hollywood, one of his father's old haunts. Next year, Richard entered the Navy and was stationed in San Diego and Virginia Beach, but it was during a stint in Scotland that he continued his desire to perform. He started lip-syncing to songs and started doing drag professionally for the first time back in Norfolk and Virginia Beach. 2 years later, in 1983, he left the Navy, moved back to Peoria, and became involved in female impersonation shows and the pageant system and then he performed on stage with dancers and actors and doing drag into the late 80s. The early 90s found Richard on a different path. He decided to become a minister, and through his church in Peoria, Illinois, he got licensed twice, training with an instructor who was a theologian at Chicago's Moody Bible College in downtown Chicago. During the 90s, Richard spoke and ministered in Atlanta and St. Louis and various locations in the U.S., and from 2000 to 2005, Richard lived in Des Moines, Iowa, and worked in telecommunications, as well as in bars and bartending and running karaoke shows. His mother, Patricia, passed in 2005, and of course, we know in 2003 and in 2005, his comedic icon and award-winning dad, Richard Pryor, passed of a heart attack. Richard decided to expand on everything he had been working for. As a tribute to his father, the talented singer and actor decided to relaunch his career. Certain things are in your DNA, whether you go after them or not, he says. After being invited to New York City in 2006, Richard met a man named Marty Fisher, who invited him to the New York Comedy Festival, and Richard's rendition of His Eye on the Sparrow created quite a stir, this fantastic reception making him feel validated artistically. And the next day he flew to Peoria and then back to New York City, where he stayed with his sister-in-law. And no stranger to doing all kinds of things, Richard did porter work, but soon learned about the New York Artists Unlimited Theater Down East Arts Center and landed a part at a play at Cringe Fest, substituting for a cast member. Although he was now spending all of his time at the theater, sleeping on an army cot, cooking his food in a hot plate, studying the lines and rehearsing with the cast at night, he was doing what he wanted to do all along. He was acting. And regarding his love of performing, Richard has always said, I love to see what I can get out of the depths of my soul to portray a character. The darker, the better for him. He loves following a script, but loves working with directors that allow you to let go and let the character breathe the way you see him. Also, at the time, Richard was becoming more involved with his other love, singing. Not only did he perform at the world famous Birdland in New York City, as well as the Metropolitan Room, he became a member and performer at the famed Friars Club, and he sang in numerous venues throughout the United States, as well as the Catskills in New York State, the Jazz Celebration Series in upstate New York, Chicago, Indiana, 5-show performance in Michigan. And, instead of getting people to help him because of who his legendary father was, Richard Pryor, Jr. has tried to do it all on his own. He says, no one can say I didn't work for what I achieved. Richard has recorded with various gospel groups in the Midwest as well, such as the Sounds of Deliverance and Voices of Refuge. And he's had a lead role at Sage Theater in the musical Sox, playing the lead Jim Sock. He's performed also in several productions in the International Cringe Festival. And of course, he's written a spectacular book that we're going to talk about his life growing up with such a famous dad and his family and so much more. He's very open. He's very authentic. He's funny as heck. He's very approachable, and he's my special guest tonight here on the Jim Masters Show Live. The one and only Richard Pryor Jr. Richard, welcome to the show. It's good to see you. How are you today?
I'm great, Jim. How are you?
Fantastic, fantastic. I tell you, you really had an extraordinary journey, and one that I think is so inspiring for so many people, because I'm sure they assumed, because you're the son of Richard Pryor Sr., your dad, that everything was always perfect and it was, the Hollywood life and everything was great. But you're very open about your life, because I know you want to inspire others, right?
Correct, definitely. I think that so many people see facades of people on TV and on the screens, and they think that's the way people actually are. And then a lot of times when they meet those people, they're so disappointed and let down because they realize, oh wait, they're human and they're natural and they're mess ups, and they're not always nice and not always cordial. So I want people to know exactly who I am, the real me. Not always the one that's always smiling all the time, but the things I go through as well.
Absolutely. Speaking of things you go through right now with this crazy year that we've all been dealing with and having to pivot and sort of change, our lifestyle, our choices, where we're going, what we can and cannot do. How have you been getting by? How have you kept those creative juices flowing during this sort of, stay put, social distance
Right.
period that we're in this crazy year?
Well, I think what it is for me is that I have something to look forward to that I'm waiting on, some projects, two in specifically that I'm waiting on to open up for next spring. So I'm anticipating that and actually working on that physically and mentally for those things already. So I'm already trying to prepare myself for what's going to happen in the very near future for these two particular roles and the two totally different projects that I'm actually going to be working on.
That is exciting. That is really, really cool. Just wanted to show you here lots of levity, as we call it here on the show, coming from the viewers around the world. Diane says hello from
Hey,
Ohio.
Diane.
Irish 43 says
Hey,
hello
Ira.
from Indiana. Linda from Ohio saying
Hi,
hello.
Ohio. Hi, Linda.
Danielle from Ohio says
Danielle, what's up,
hello.
Danielle?
Yeah. Mary Bishop is
Hey,
saying
Mary.
hello.
Great.
Alex from Los Angeles is
How are you,
saying
Alex?
hello. And Merlin in Canada, welcome Richard to
Hey,
Levity
Melanie.
Hall.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
Melba LaRose says, hey Richard, love you.
Melba actually is the owner of the Down East Arts Center where I had my first acting job. She ran it, and it was her place.
That's so great that
Yeah,
she's here showing her support and watching the show. Welcome to the show.
yeah.
We love having you here, Melba. Avril Britton is watching in Hampshire, United Kingdom.
Hey,
Welcome,
Avril.
Richard.
Hello.
She gives you double hearts, too.
All right.
Christopher Joseph from Northwest Ohio is here, and he
Hey,
welcomes
how are you,
you.
Christopher?
Mary Bishop does as well, and Crystal Nolan in Connecticut,
Hey,
Linda
Crystal.
Odell in St. Augustine, Florida. Good
Hey,
evening,
Linda.
Mr. Lovely. Good evening, Lovelies. Good evening, Richard. And Tremor 2020, Carlton, what's up?
Uh,
Watching on Periscope. This is cool. And Willie, too, is saying hello, and she's in Holland. So
Oh,
she's
wow.
saying, Jennifer Barry says hello, and this is
Ooh,
cool. This is really nice. All these folks are saying hello to each other and
beautiful.
hello to you. And Renee in Iowa says, welcome, Richard. I know where Des
Ooh.
Moines, Iowa is. Was just there to buy a new washing machine. I tell you, that's really, really funny. Mary Bishop says, my hubby and I just watched your dad's comedy show after the accident. And after this horrific accident, he was still the funniest man around. That's a lot of love.
Yeah.
Uh, Jessica Lynn, Ohio, and Hey Junior from is that family? Is it looks like Maya
I can't tell.
PRNY PML? Maybe, yeah. She's watching on Periscope.
Hey,
That is cool. Willie in the Netherlands says, "Welcome, Richard, to the Jim Masters Show."
thank you.
Kathy says, "Hello,
Hello,
Richard."
Kathy.
Ernestine in North Carolina says, "Hello."
Hey,
Linda in Florida says hello. This is amazing. Yeah, we love this.
hey,
This is a normal routine on our show. They're so lovely to the guests. Ralph
definitely.
Lampkin in Indiana says good evening.
Hey,
Diane, hello. Richard Pryor Jr., Diane Reich. Um, Hi, Richard. I'm
hey.
watching you from the drive in the mountain field. Jen is Zen.
Oh,
Christine Clifton says, welcome to the Jim Master Show Live, Richard. You are now a lovety. See,
oh,
I
thank
know that.
you.
Our dear mutual friend June. Hiya,
Hey,
guys.
Jeannie.
She's here. June is here. And she's giving us XO. We give that back. Francis says, hello, Richard.
Hello.
Donna says, hello, Jim and Richard from Columbus, Georgia. That is
Hello,
really,
hello.
really cool. Marilyn in Wichita, Kansas says, welcome, Richard.
Thank
Christopher
you.
Joseph says, Richard Pryor's the best. Anne in California says, great to see you, Richard.
You as
And
well.
on and on. So lots of levity on this show, I tell you.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. So, in the early years when you were growing up, I mentioned some of those really cool things that you've been involved in and so much more. But what was it like for you? Of course, I know probably everybody asks you the question when your father was on the road and your mom and your grandparents pretty much raised you and you saw your dad on the weekends. You had a very good, solid, and loving relationship with your dad, even though he was always working and doing what he had to do, right? He was very
Right.
proud of you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think when I was younger, I didn't see him as much as I did when I was a little older, because I was able to travel and all those things. But when he left so early, when I was so young and everything, I think I was barely walking, if at all, when he left. And he said he was going to be gone for 3 months. He was gone for 3 years. So when he came back, I was actually walking. So he was surprised about that. But then when I remember knowing him and really getting to know him, I was probably around 5 or 6 years old. And he had started doing quite a bit of work and things like that. I think he'd already been on a lot of the talk shows back then. They had Sullivan, all those shows. He'd already premiered on those shows and everything. So his career had already taken off. And I think it was a thing of like, I didn't know what he did or how big he was, but I knew that there was something different because when you saw the family making sure that they were doing things, like my great grandmother, making sure the house is clean and they're, people run around, everybody's cooking everything and nobody died and they're still cooking all this food. So you're wondering what's actually going on. So uh, that was my introduction to my dad. And I still don't see my dad like everyone else saw him. Everyone else saw him as a performer. I saw him as just dad. It was as if my dad worked at a paint factory to me in my head. It was like the kind of the same thing. So I mean, we had our ups and downs, we had our arguments, we had our fights, but I never thought his love for me ever wavered, and my love for him never wavered.
And did he notice in you your talent? I mean, were you a kid that were you always running around? Were you always running around the house? Were you entertaining? Were you always doing little, things that to get the attention and to provide entertainment for the family? Did he pick up on that with you early?
Oh yeah, we always, especially when in Peoria, we would, my cousins and I and my siblings in Peoria, that were my mother's children. We always, would put on talent shows and all these things. But also when I was in California, my father always saw the things that we like to do, because we would, Rain, Elizabeth, and myself would recreate film movies. And my dad gave us a like one of the I don't know if it was an 8 millimeter or what, the kind where you could film and everything, film your own movies and everything. So we used to film our own movies, and like, we would reenact The Exorcist, and I would get under the bed, and uh, Rain would be on the bed, and I would kick the bed up, and that the mattress, so she would flop around, and we'd make sure that was filmed properly and things like that. So we always were performing some kind of way, whether it was a talent show or something. You've got to see what we can do. We're going to show you what we can do. Look what we can do, Dad. It was always that way.
And that's fantastic. And he was encouraging too, right? He realized that there was talent there within the family, and he uh, gave you the sort of the opportunity and then the breadth to figure out what you wanted to do, who you
Mm-hmm.
wanted to become, right? You didn't
Yeah,
feel
correct.
constrained. Like if you didn't want to go into entertainment, you didn't have to,
No,
because
no, not at all.
a lot of times they say, well, you have to do what I
Oh,
do, or you got
right,
to be a doctor or a lawyer. But your
right,
dad encouraged whatever your passions in life were, right?
exactly. He used to even come to Peoria, Illinois, to my my school for talent shows and things like that, which it kind of sometimes disrupted a lot of things, because people didn't view him as just a dad, So that part of it, kind of sucked a little bit. But the fact that he was there, and would come there, travel all the way from California to watch his son in a talent show in a gymnasium, so he was the best dad he knew how to be. And those were some great memories that I will share forever and always have in my heart.
When did you start to realize the significance of the career that he selected and who he was and the way people really admired him? Not only, the contemporaries, his colleagues, that really respected his comedy, respected who he was, but also the public at large. When did it sort of click in and say, wow, he's my dad, he's my father, I ride on his shoulder and he's there and everything, but there's something else going on here. Like you said, the cooking of the food and all of
Right.
this, there was always
I
a
think
stir. When
I
did you
think
realize
the
that?
I think the major impact on me was when my dad was doing stand up, and it was during the summer, and I was a young teenager, and I was touring with him, and I loved it because you stayed in the hotels, and I got to order what I wanted through room service and all that stuff. But one day he asked me, he said, "Would you like to introduce me on stage?" And he told me what to say, and they told me it was my time. And I remember walking out there. And when I walked out on stage, I remember the audience, and how even before he was out, they were like, like rushing to their seats, and sitting down. They were extremely attentive, and they were sitting there as I said, "Ladies and gentlemen, my father, Richard Pryor." And then when I heard the eruption of the applause, that's when it clicked to me that, oh, Dad is more than a painter in the factory.
Right.
Dad, people love him. These are people that there's no way he knows all these people, and these people actually love him. And I think that's what it was that just clicked to me.
Now, when you realize that, sometimes when that happens, you sort of become almost like the coolest kid in the school because your dad is this almost
Mhm.
superhero to some people. Um, what happened with you? Did that come in your direction, or did that make it harder for you? Not the relationship between the two of you, but just the fact that people knew and other kids knew that your dad is, Richard
Yeah,
Pryor.
I think a lot of things were difficult for me. I think the thing of like even going to a movie to watch The Wiz, for instance. I remember doing that in when I was in junior high or something in that age range, and I remember people watching me versus the film to see my reaction. So it wasn't there. they see my dad's name or they see him and they turn to me to watch me instead of enjoying what they came there for. I think that was one of the things. And I think also of one of the downfalls of not knowing who your friends really were, not knowing who, if people really liked you and wanted to be your friends because of the person you were or because of who your dad was. And I think those are a lot of things that you go through, when you, especially when you're trying to be your own person and you're trying to do your own thing and you're trying to have your own identity. A lot of times you don't, whoever it is, you don't want that parent there to be the focus of everything. You want people to understand who you are and know who you are. And I think those are the things that were most difficult with going through the process of having a father of who he was. I know a lot of people may not understand it, and it's kind of hard to put into words. Um, but you just want people around you that are genuine and that are real, that have your back and that aren't there to take from you, even though you don't have anything. People's assumptions of the way you're living and the way you're brought up and all those things. They have a misconception of those things. And my mother was very good at keeping me level-headed. That when I would go to my dad's, you would have the housekeepers and the cooks and all those things. And when I would get back to Illinois, it was take out the garbage, wash the dishes, do what you're supposed to do your homework. It was none of that. So those were things my mother instilled in me. Where I can go to somewhere, I can eat with kings and queens or eat with somebody who has nothing, and I'm not going to treat anybody different.
That was great that she created sort of that stability and that foundation for you because, a lot of, as you've probably seen and maybe even know personally, friends, children of famous people, especially in Hollywood, sometimes a lot of things happen where they go off into, Never Never Land, where it's not necessarily the best. Not that you don't experiment and try a lot of different things, but you still had that foundation of your mother trying to keep things stable and
Yeah,
understand what its life is all about, and that was a blessing, right?
yeah, it was a total blessing. I mean, I didn't get crazy and wild until later in life. You know what I mean? I didn't do things when I was really younger, but when I got older, that's when I kind of let loose and went berserk.
Now, a little trivia too. Initially, when you were born, you weren't Richard Pryor Jr., right? You had a different name, and then your father changed it to Richard.
When I was born, I was born at 6 months, and my mother named me after my cousin, his name was Rodney. So my name was Rodney Clay Pryor. So my dad was a little jealous of that. He thought that I was named after an old boyfriend. And my mother was young, She got married when she was 16, so it wasn't like she had a lot of boyfriends or anything like that. And he secretly went up to the hospital and changed my name. And my mother went up to the hospital to visit me one week, and she said, "I'd like to check on my son, Rodney Clay Pryor." And they're like, "We don't have a Rodney Clay Pryor. We have a Richard Pryor Jr. here." And then my birth certificate actually had like the whiteout on it, where you can see where they took the original name out and put in the new one. And it's funny because my father told me years later, he said, when he was an actor and performer, he said, "If I ever would have known I would be famous, I wouldn't have changed your name."
Right, carrying. But I'm sure you're very proud to carry that name as you do.
Definitely proud. Definitely.
And, I'm sure everybody says you look the spitting image of him.
Yeah, I still don't see it. I
Yeah,
still don't see it.
it's amazing. I mean, even as time goes on, even more and more so, it's extraordinary. And
Yeah, I know I do have a lot of the mannerisms like my dad and the facial expressions, the gestures, and all those things. I do notice that. Yeah.
yeah, and
It's something.
the timing as well too.
Yeah.
Because you dabbled in comedy as well along the way,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Yeah, I
Never
want to.
again, but yeah.
Right, exactly. I want to show some really cool pictures that you were really generous to share with us. Really beautiful
Okay.
ones here. I love this one of you and your dad on the sofa. Um, Tell us about this one. That's a cool shot, Richard.
My dad came to visit a time. I'm not sure what it was, if it was for a funeral or whatever. That's usually when he came home, or it might have been when he was the Richard Pryor Day, when they had the Richard Pryor Day for the city of Peoria. It looks like he's scolding me for something. That's what it. When I look at it, that's what I see. I'm in trouble,
From
and
your
he's getting after
expression.
me. That's exactly what it looks like. I came over. My mother dropped me off, and she told my father I'd been acting up or something. And I'm sitting there, and he's like going in at me, and that's exactly what it looks like.
He does have that dad sitting on the edge of the couch
Yeah,
with the hands folded, looking at
yeah.
you, that I think all of us have seen in our dads over the years,
Oh
that
yeah,
look.
definitely.
Look who's here. Our wonderful Rain is here. Says, hi, big brother.
Hey, Rain,
Rain said,
Rain, what's
yeah.
up? I
Rain
love
says, oh, yeah, I love Rain too.
Yes, she did. Her mother took that photo.
So that was Rain's mom, Shelley. That's
Yeah, sure, yeah.
fantastic. Fantastic. Lisa Ingram is here. So proud of you, Richie, she
Hey,
says.
Lisa Bug. That's my cousin Lisa Bug.
Oh,
Hello,
that's
Lisa.
fantastic. And Ernestine and Diane say you do look a lot like your dad, that's for sure.
Mm,
You can see your dad in Rain as well.
yeah,
That's a great shot. We have another one here too. Again, we thank you for sharing these and opening up your life. And you have this wonderful book we're going to talk about too, where you do that even more. That's a cool shot.
yeah, that is a cool shot. So that must have been after I'm okay now. It looks like the storm has settled down. And the picture was taken at that's my great grandmother's house. His grandmother that raised him, Marie Carter Pryor Bryant. That's her house on Millman Street in Peoria, Illinois. I remember that house very well. I remember even the layout of the house and the furniture and all that. Yeah,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Another great shot here too. This goes back.
yeah. I think this photo, I believe it was taken by Isaac Sutton, who was a photographer for Jet Magazine, and I believe this photo was because my dad had suits tailored for us. And I think this is the suit when we were on. Well, he was the guest host of Midnight Special with Wolfman Jack, and I went to the show with him, and I was actually sat in the audience and got to talk on camera and all that. So I think that's what that was. I would love to find footage of that. But I think
What
that's what
was
that was.
what was that like to be in that atmosphere? That must have been really cool at that age, huh?
Yeah, it was really cool and awesome. But one thing was that I was surprised it wasn't at midnight. That was the thing that shocked me for one thing.
Right.
You
You
know,
think they're doing it live at
yeah,
midnight and they're
yeah.
doing it earlier in the day.
Yeah. So I think that was the thing that shocked me. And then meeting Wolfman Jack, because that was a star to me, because I'd seen the show and everything. So I was excited about that. But to be able to, actually talk, in a microphone and, everybody sees everything, it was just a phenomenal experience.
Absolutely. Rain says, my brother is incredible and uber talented. We agree.
Thank you,
Danielle
man.
Hamilton, great picture. Love it.
Thank
Crystal Nolan
you.
in Connecticut, cool photos, great memories. And thank you so much for sharing these beautiful photos. Jennifer Cobb says, hi, sweetheart. Talk about how you overcame the obstacles, which, of course, we all have obstacles in life. And there was
Mhm.
some time where things were a little bit, and this is nice too. Hi, sweetheart, amazing man. Jennifer, welcome to the show. It's good to have you here. Where, the pressures of life sort of just get in the way and how we
Mhm.
deal with them. And again, you've been so beautifully and therapeutically for yourself as well as for the public at large, so open and sharing about some of the obstacles, some of the things that you've gone through. Tell us about some of that and how you were able to weave through it. And even at point, there was one point where you reached out to your dad when you were probably at your lowest, and he came and got it together and scooped you up and said, let's work on this, which I think is
Yeah.
beautiful.
I think what I dealt with a lot of things when I was younger, and that we all go through things, and a lot of times, when we get older, those things that we went through and the things that we've gone through, they affect us in our mind, and they affect our heart, and we do things to try to cover up that. And my things was like doing drugs. It was like, I'm going to do these drugs and to not feel anything and not to feel any pain or anything like that. And then you notice that down the line, after you've done this, you notice that that's not enough for you, and then you want to try something else. Oh, okay, I've snorted a few lines. Let me try some crystal meth now. Let me try that and everything. And, I've got this under control. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Then you realize, a couple months down the line, then you're finally shooting needles in your arm with cocaine and crystal meth, and you're just getting high and numb and not to feel anything. And you don't realize how much you're actually really destroying yourself. And there was one point I remember when I was working on one of my father's films called Critical Condition. We were in High Point, North Carolina. And I was in my hotel room and I was working as a PA. And I remember I had met the main drug dealer in that town, and she would like bring coke to me to the hospital where we filmed at. We filmed at an old vacant hospital. And I had drugs hidden on almost every floor. And then I was real nasty to other crew members because they were knocking on my door because they wanted to party. But because they resented me and didn't like me, they didn't really talk to me. So this was my way of throwing things in their face. No, you can't have any, the kind of attitude. And I would just get so wasted that I couldn't even function. I mean, I would get so bad that I would call into work the next morning, and I would they get the answer machine, and I would say, I'm not coming in. And then I come in work the following day, and they say, why didn't you call in? And I did, and realized that I was so high, I was leaving my voicemail message before the beep. I was
What do you think was happening? Were you reaching out? Was it the overwhelm of, being surrounded by celebrity? What do you think was happening in hindsight now, Richard?
I think hindsight now, when I look at it, it was the fact that I didn't know who I was as a person. And I really wanted to know that. I was a confused young man and didn't know what I wanted out of life with everything, sexually and everything. I didn't know. And also, a part of me thought, because my dad did drugs and everything, coke. So a part of me, the twisted part of me, was like, I can be just like him. And I remember when I finally called him and I couldn't handle it anymore. I remember calling him and telling him what I was doing. I remember his bodyguard Rashawn and a nurse flew me out on a private plane out to LA to the care unit. And I remember getting there, and they took me up to the care unit floor and everything, and they gave me some sedatives. And then I remember my heart stopped, and I can actually see the nurse on top of me pumping my chest, saying, come on, Richard, come back, Richard, come back, Richard. And because they thought I was high off of coke, and then not knowing that I was actually sedated already. And I look back at those things that I've gone through, and so many people didn't come out of that darkness alive, and so many people are stuck in that darkness and never see a way out of it, and think that there's nothing but darkness in front of them for the rest of their days. So I wanted to do something to show, let's flip that around. How did I flip it around? If one person can get something from what I've gone through, it's all the more grateful I am that I am here today, because I know I'm here for a purpose and a reason. We all are.
What do you think allowed you to be able to turn it around and to sort of get away from all of it and turn your life around? Was it your father's help? Was it the love of the whole family? Was it you just saying, you know what, I'm better than this, I have a lot more to give? How were you able to lift and rise from those ashes?
It was. I would have to say I had all those things. My parent, my mother, my parents, my dad, all those people were around. But until I knew myself, until I valued who I was as a person and learned to love who I was as a person, nothing would have changed. I could have had all the help I wanted. But without knowing who you are as yourself, not someone telling you, and knowing who you are, knowing your virtues, knowing your love, knowing your strength, knowing your weaknesses, all those things, learning those things for yourself, for you. Until you do that, it's just people helping you to a rehab. It's people sending you to a rehab, paying for it. It's people being there for you. It's people, being your crutch and everything. All those things you have there, which you shouldn't have there. But it takes you for you to know who you are in order for things to start to change.
And you have to explore and you have to figure that out. And sometimes
Oh
it
yeah,
takes time
it
and
takes
some.
time. It takes time because you have to look at. Sometimes you have to look at the ugly of yourself. You know what I mean? It's not always looking at yourself and woe is me, but what kind of dirt did I do? What kind of bad things did I do? What kind of things? How did I treat people? Sometimes you have to look at all that.
That's right. And it's hard to do it in the beginning, but it can be a beautiful thing when you
Yes, it is.
do. One of the things you did do was, and we thank you for the service, you went into the Navy. Tell us about that decision to do that.
Well, my thing was, I was like, I want to do something. I've always been a person that would do something and I kind of tire of something like very easily. Like whether it's a job, doing a job for 2 or 3 years, and I'm like, want to move to something else, do something else. And my thing with the military, I thought it was going to make me a man in every sense of the word. I think those are the things that I was running from a lot of things sexually during that time period and confused, little boy. And my thing was going to the military to grow up and to become a man. It matured me in a sense, but it also opened Pandora's box, so to speak, because I then, when I was in the military, had my freedom and I didn't have to worry about people who were around me and I could do as I wanted to do. And that's when a lot of the things um, changed as far as me, like just being buck wild and crazy. That's when those things actually happened because I had a sense of freedom to be who I was. And instead of it being most of a positive thing, it became a lot of a negative thing for me, and then the stupid things I was doing while I was in the military, I mean, just it was a wake up call to definitely grow up. It matured me in the sense of like taking care of business, doing what you got to do, but it also opened up that box that lasted for quite a while until I was able to, get rid of it and then, tear it up and throw it away.
You were during the around this time also doing the performances, right? Like the drag performances, things
That's
of that
when I
nature.
started.
Tell us about that. And the ability to do that and how that also impacted your life. I
Well,
mean,
I was living because I was during the period of don't ask, don't tell, and I was living a double life. I mean, total double life. When I was off the base, and everything, I was doing during the performing and all those things, and sometimes 2 and 3 shows a night and all this stuff, and then the next day I have to be back on the base, or on the shipyard or something like that. So it was always something. It was moving. It was quick. It was nonstop, and it was got so nonstop that my head couldn't handle it. And that's when I had a point in my life during that time, which I talk about in my book, where I tried to take my life because I was looking in the mirror of a person who was in half makeup and I'd been crying and I was like disgusted at what I was looking at and was sad because I wasn't happy inside, period. And I was trying to do everything to make me happy except for taking it, internalizing what I was going through and deal with my insides and deal with that to make myself happy versus people, places, and things. If that makes any sense.
it does, yeah, yeah. And so, what was the pivotal moment? Maybe that aha moment, and maybe there were several of them, when you did realize, you know, who you were and what you're about, and were comfortable with that. Were there a couple of scenarios that developed where you realized it?
There's a couple of different times in my life where things have changed in my life. where a direction was going this one way, and then I turned and went another direction. And it's evolving and growing and learning who you are and being comfortable in your own skin for the different things and different times in your life. And I think that's what the things were with me. It was a thing of like, oh, I have to love me for me. I have to learn to be myself. And then other times, like, I'm not sad, and I'm no longer satisfied with that. I'm no longer happy with that. What do I need to do now? So I've always been a person where I'm like looking at what can I do to better myself, no matter what it is. What can I do to better myself? And it may not be the direction someone else sees at that time, but it's what's best for me and what I need at that time. So that's what I'm always doing, whether it's learning things, uh, lifestyle, whether where I live, who I talk to, who I communicate with, all those things are about making myself a better person.
And that's beautiful because we're all a work in progress. We're all looking for ways to improve ourselves and to fine tune and to, touch the lives of others. Along the way, when did you realize some of the things that you wanted to do, acting, writing, things of that nature, the entertaining as well? When did you realize you were going to focus on that area?
It actually happened in 2006 when I came to New York City to do they were opening up it was called the Improv at the time. Now it's Broadway Comedy Club, but it was called the Improv at the time, and they were naming the main room after my father. And Marty Fisher, who's no longer with us, was, I guess, a promoter, agent, or whatever. And he wanted me to do some comedy, and I didn't want to do comedy. I said, well, I'll sing. So I sang a song, and I remember the reception was like really good. I'm like, wait a minute, these are New York people. They're going to let you know if you suck. They're going to tell you right off the bat. So I went home, came back. Uh, my sister Rain loaned me well, I guess I could say she gave it to me because I never paid it back. She gave me $300 to get back to New York. I came back to New York and I never left. But the thing was, I tell people this, a lot of people don't understand it. Within my mother and my father dying, if my mother was still alive, I would be underneath her, you know, laying underneath her, being just a little baby. I think my mother's death, especially, I say this, gave me life, because if they were still around, my dad's for a different reason, but my mom, the nurturing part of me would still want to be there. And I think her passing, it gave me a way to exhale to do what I need to do. My dad, on the other hand, what his was that he was no longer here, that I felt I had to compete with, if that makes any sense. It was a thing that even though his body of work is still there and he was a great guy, I could just be Richard, period. And that's the way I looked at it, and that's the way I saw it. So I think those were the things that that really like got me into the thing. Richard, do what you've always wanted to do. Do what you've loved to do. God, I wish my mom could see me performing, and that's why I do it.
That's beautiful. And you mentioned, of course, your sister Rain. She's a wonderful source of love and inspiration in your life as
Yeah.
well, isn't she?
Yes, she is. She's I don't know, Rain and I have this relationship that's like we can tell each other anything. We can speak about I'm getting emotional about it because we can speak about our pain and the things that we go through in life. We can speak about things that we've done wrong. We can speak about all those things, and there's no judgmental as far as the things that we've done, but we both would tell each other you're wrong, or you're right, or I agree with this, or I don't agree with this. And that's the beautiful thing about having a sibling like that, but a sister like that is a wonderful thing, to be able to have that, because she understands what I'm going through as far as the arts and the struggle, how the struggle is real, because she was on a hit show. She was, performed, and she's done all this, and she's won awards and all those things. And you got her big brother now coming behind doing his own thing, and he's trying to make his own mark, and she gets it and she understands it. And there's been so many times when people, and this is what I love about it, there's so many times that people, when they want to speak to one of the children, they reach out to her, and she said, no, go to my brother, speak to my brother. He's the oldest. And a lot of people wouldn't do that, but that's the kind of person that she is. It's not a thing about who gets the accolades, it's about telling the story and getting the truth out and being your genuine self. And I'm so grateful for that. I love her so much.
It's a beautiful thing to have that love and family, absolutely. And I actually love this picture of the three of us when the two of you were performing at the Metropolitan Room, and you guys had everybody on their feet laughing, and it was really terrific. I love that
Um,
shot. And
that
that
was
was,
hilarious. That
wasn't
was
it?
that was so much fun. We went to rehearsals. So I went to rehearsals with her and we rehearsed it, and oh my God, it was so much fun. It was just fun to just have fun because we had never performed on stage together. So it was just a great moment just to just be us, and it was just a fun time and I enjoyed it a lot. I like that picture.
Yeah, it's in a great shot, huh?
Yeah,
The Three Musketeers there for
yeah.
sure. The yeah, I'm in the middle of a love sandwich there. I love it. A lot of levity there. Would you like to team up and perform with Rain again? I
Oh my
mean,
God, yeah.
you guys knocked it out of the park that night. I
Oh, yeah.
remember.
We've actually discussed it several times about we should do this together and put a show together with the both of us, doing the show. But definitely, I'm going to work with her without a doubt. Definitely, just a matter of when it's going to happen, but it's definitely going to happen.
Perfect. That's great news. That's great news. The I love this shot too, and this you used for the cover of your book. That's really a beautiful shot. Tell us about the book and what was the writing process like?
Yeah,
When did you realize that you wanted to tell this story? Because you know what happens, and I'm sure it's happened, you know, to you and to Rain and to the whole family. You have other people who try to tell your story, but they didn't live your story. They
right,
guess, they estimate, they
right.
assume. So you're able to put it all down on paper. I mean, when I first heard the title In a Prior Life, I mean, that's a phenomenal title too. But when did you say, you know, now is the time? Not later when I'm 85 years old. I want to get this out now. What was
Yeah.
that inspiration for you to write this book now?
Well, I think with me with the book, it's been a long process because I've started wanting to write a book about my life in the late 90s, probably like 98, 99, somewhere around there. I wanted to do it, and I would start and stop. And then in like 2000, after both my parents died, I started again, and then I would stop. And in 2006, when I moved out here, I said, okay, I'm gonna write this book. And it was like, nah, the person that wants to work with me on this, that can help me out with this, they want to fabricate things and create stories that don't need to be created, and make my father look like a monster when he wasn't. So I'm not going to work with them. And I tried again in 2009, and probably 2013, 14, I said, okay, I really want to do this. I think because at that time I was ready for it, and because I knew that once I started I would have to tell my truth. I didn't want it a book about woe is me, look what everybody did to me. I didn't want it that. I wanted to share the good, the bad, and the ugly about my life and the things I've gone through. And when I first started on this with the process, I would write down points, like different things that happened to me. And I ended up with like 130 something points. And then I would just record and talk about those particular points. So when I worked with Ron Pryor, who helped doing the creative writing of this, because he knew I wanted it in my voice, he could hear my tones in the recordings. And if I was talking about my mother, he could tell that it was making me sad and it was hurting me. So he was able to write in the way I spoke because I wanted it to be my voice. I had worked with another writer previous to this, famous writer named David Ritz, and everything. He was a great writer. He's done a lot of autobiographies and all those things. But what was missing from that, I remember my sister even said, "Your voice, Richard. It's got to be your voice." And so that's why I did the recordings where he could actually listen to them and hear me talking. So it's like I'm just talking and speaking. The fluctuations and everything, and the all those things that we don't think about. I wanted to make sure they were a part of that, so people would know it was authentic in me.
What's the reaction been for people who've been reading the book? And has the reaction surprised you? Is it what you expected? Tell us about the feedback as people have read and fallen in love with the book.
It's, I would say, unexpected because it's been positive, positive, positive feedback regarding the book. I mean, I have a friend of mine, Monique, who's a comic, an actress, Academy Award winning actress, and everything. I remember her telling me how much the book meant to her, and how much she loved the book, and just hearing how people love the realness that's in the book, and the authenticity of the book. People love that about the book. We already have a screenplay for the book already. So we're just waiting to hear about that. I want to actually do a one-man show based off of the book as well, where I would play the characters, all the characters in the book. So those are some things that I'm excited about that are coming out of the book. There's fruit growing out of the book. It's like planting the seed, and the seeds now are turning into fruit.
That's amazing. Congratulations on that. That's very, very exciting. And I'm sure you're really looking forward to that. And that's going to be, that, like the book, it's going to be a labor of love. When you were writing the book, were you surprised by anything? Were there, emotions and memories and a lot of things flooding out as you were writing
I
the book? Almost like reliving a lot of it.
Yeah, I was surprised for several things. One thing is that I was surprised that when you would talk about one thing, all of a sudden someone else would pop in your head that you had totally forgot about, and then you're like, "Oh my God, that really happened," and then being able to talk about that. I was surprised of the physical pain and discomfort that I went through talking about certain things, certain things that were extremely painful. I remember I'd be recording and I would get physically ill to where my back I couldn't function with my back or anything like that. And I just had to lay down. And I remember my manager, Bernard Firstman, he would like, call me, "Richard, you got to get up. You got a deadline. We've got to do this," to where I was wanting to go back into the old and sulk like I would normally do, go in a bedroom and close the drapes and put a blanket over my head. And I had to fight through that a lot. I mean, an awful lot. I had to fight through that because I wanted to see the completion of it. I didn't want it to be something I started, never finished. But it was very difficult.
And how did you know when to end it? Because sometimes it's hard to know when to cap it and put the period on the last sentence. How did you know when it was done and you were comfortable with it?
I knew that everything I wanted to share it truthfully and honestly, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I think when I came to a point when I could talk about the good in my life, the things that are happening in my life now, that's when I knew I would end it. When I knew I could talk about, me being nominated for a Mac Award and the things that are happening for me now, I knew that's when I could end it. Not saying there won't be more that won't come out of this, but at that time for this, it's showing people that, through life, when we're born, the things that we go through, the struggles we go through the life, how we can come out of those obstacles and how we can turn those things around for ourselves. And I thought once I did that, then I was done.
That makes total sense. And there's some wonderful comments coming in here. Pamela Perkle says, people are basically good. There are a few bitter people who may try to bring you down, but I found most people are generous and kind, will respond with kindness in response to heartfelt, very revealing book. Danielle says, what a heartfelt love for your sister. Hugs. You're showing genuine care and love. What an amazing interview. just got another big fan. I mean, even the conversation we're having now, Richard, is impacting people in such a beautiful way. What would be something in regards to your dad that would surprise people? I think a lot of people assume that he was, and rather incorrectly, always wild and on and crazy, but actually he was a very humble and quiet, gentle man, wasn't he?
Quiet, kind of like I am. As I notice when I have to, when I go to functions, I have to force myself to, like, smile and talk and all this, because I'm the person that would sit in a corner and just watch everybody. Dad was kind of like the same way. So a lot of things that people didn't know is that my father could actually sing. And that's one thing that a lot of people didn't know. And there's actually a video of him on YouTube. If you put Richard Pryor singing, and there's a video of him actually doing a song in there, an old blues song that Bessie Smith wrote, that I actually do the actual song in my show. I dedicated to my dad as my singing show as well. But a lot of people wasn't aware that he could sing. He could play drums, all those things. A lot of people weren't aware of those things.
We actually have a clip of you that I would love to show, and it's you performing at Bernie sent to us at the Metropolitan Room, and we want to show people who might not be familiar with your amazing chops that you have.
Ooh, I hate listening to myself sing. This is going to be something.
There's where the humble side of you is, right? But we'll share it with our viewers here, and we hope everybody is enjoying our conversation with our wonderful friend Richard Pryor Jr. here. And here is Richard performing in New York City, in Manhattan, at the Metropolitan Room. Enjoy this, and then he and I will be back, and we'll pick up where we left off.
Little Stevie Wonder. I had to help the white people out. Very superstitious writings on the wall. Very superstitious letters about to fall. 13-month-old baby broke the looking glass. 7 years of bad luck, good things in your past. When you believe in things that you don't understand, then you suffer. Superstition ain't the way. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, very superstitious. Wash your face and hands. Rid me of the problem. Do all that you can. Keep me in a daydream. Keep me going strong. You don't want to save me. Sad is my song. When you believe in things that you don't understand, then you suffer. Superstition ain't the way. Yeah, yeah. Take it away. Let's give it up for the band. Very superstitious, nothing more to say. Very superstitious. superstition. Devil's on his way. 13-month-old baby, yeah. Broke the looking glass. 7 years of bad luck. Good things in your past. When you believe in things that you don't understand, then you suffer. Superstition ain't the way, yeah. No, no. Very superstitious. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When you believe in things that you don't understand, then you suffer. Superstition ain't the way.
What are you talking about? Bravo, bravo. That was awesome. I remember when you and Rain were performing together and you guys were amazing, but that is terrific. I mean, you got some real vocal chops there. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really fantastic, my friend. And the world has loved it. Melba is very happy because she said, "Great interview, but Jim, make him sing."
Well, you
So
heard it.
Melba just you heard it. Melba just got her wish. No, you're really really good, and you really can hit that high note and hold it for a long time, which I think is really awesome. Do you like
I love
singing?
singing.
Do you like to do more of that? I mean, would you put an album
Oh yeah,
out? I mean, would you
in a
ever?
heartbeat. I love singing. I love singing. I love acting. People have asked me which do I prefer, and I can't put it in something because they're both a part of me. It's a part of who I am. So yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Mary Bishop says, wonderful voice. You got claps and hearts and microphones from Merlin in
thank
Canada.
you.
Crystal in Connecticut says, amazing voice. Diane Reich gives you claps and hearts. Ann in SoCal, Southern California. Wow, what a great voice.
Thank
Claps and
you.
hearts from Crystal. June says, wow, wonderful, love it. Ernestine in California. It looks like you're going to have to get that album going.
Yeah, yeah.
Richard, this is awesome. Love it. Bravo. Encore. Fabulous as always. Bravo. Lots of levity on the Jim Master
Thank you.
Show. Claps, claps, claps from Francis. Yeah, everybody loving that sound. And we wanted to treat everybody because there might be people watching who don't know that you sing as
Right.
well, which I think is really, really cool.
Thank you for
Also,
that.
you in your career, you had an opportunity to work on, in production roles and other roles on some really major productions like The Color Purple. Tell us about that experience working, with the production team there, Richard.
Well, it was actually really good, but I was also during that time period was in the thralls of my drug episodes. So a lot of the things that could have been a really extremely positive thing weren't for me because I couldn't keep my head straight.
Right, right.
Um, it was great, like meeting Whoopi and Oprah and all those people that was their first film that they actually did. Meeting Margaret Avery and everything, who worked on a film with my father called Which Way Is Up. It was great for that. Working in, being in Steven Spielberg's office in Amblin, walking around in the kitchen and just doing that atmosphere and getting to know his then wife, who was Amy Irving at the time. All those things were positive, positive, positive things. And getting to see the greats like, Adolph Caesar, the people that are gone, and Sylvia Miles, seeing all these wonderful people and these talented people come together for a project. That was the best thing in my life I experienced as far as working on a film set, because I've been on a lot of film sets, especially with a lot of my dad's productions and things like that. So it wasn't anything that I wasn't used to, but seeing the caliber of people that I've met, even on some of my dad's stuff over my life, like Cicely Tyson, all those things and people that you see that you take for granted, but you fall in love with when you watch them on the screen and on TV, being able to meet them in person and feel a part of that was a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. One of those was working on Bustin' Loose with your father,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that was with Jeffrey Tyson work on that. Yeah, and actually with something else, I still keep in touch with some of the kids that played the kids in the film Bust and Loose. I'm on social media with them, so I talk to them on Facebook and Instagram and all that.
That is awesome. That is
Yeah,
fantastic. Then there was another one too called that you had involvement in, Silent Bark.
yeah. Well, I'm waiting on that for now for filming. That's something that should be coming up next year, anytime now. So I'm waiting on that. I have a part in that, and I did a little writing for my character a little bit. So I'm working on that, and there's some other film projects I'm actually really excited about that I'm working on. So, uh, yeah, the one called the DOC, which is Department of Corrections, was dealing with the corrections officers. So I'm excited about that. Robin K. Miller is the creator and writer. She wrote a book about it because her life, she was a corrections officer. She wrote a book, The Underbelly of the corrections officers. So she wrote a book about it, and then she's turned it into a series. So I'm excited about that as well.
That is very exciting. That's terrific. Good things happening coming your way, my
Yeah.
friend. Um, of all the movies that your father was in, you probably get asked a million times. We had Scott
Mhm.
Schwartz on, it was
Yeah.
a month or so ago, and he was, of course, in the toy, and he was
Right.
talking about working with your father, working with Jackie Gleason. And how your father really was one of the most influential people in Scott
Mhm.
Schwartz's life. And in the
Yeah.
conversation, he kept saying that multiple times. When I asked him, I said, even of your own family, who would be a standout? And he said, I have to tell you, Jim, Richard Pryor showed me so many aspects of life that I probably would never have been able to experience. And he just was such an amazing
Yeah.
person. And you've probably heard that from Scott, probably know
Right.
that, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing to hear that. What is this your favorite of your dad's movies?
Yes.
Somehow I knew that. Yeah, that's a cool one where he plays the different roles, right?
Oh my God, I love that movie. That movie cracks me up. That's the movie Margaret Avery was actually in, but that movie just uh I see so much of myself in that, and especially now that I'm older, I do. But watching that and seeing something that was before its time and all those things, when people weren't playing multiple characters and all that, yeah, that's my you have to see the actual original film versus what if you watch it on TV.
Yeah,
Not on cable, they cut too much out of it and it loses so much of it. But if you can watch the actual film, unedited version, yeah, you'll love it.
if somebody came with a script to you and said, you know what, we want to do, whether it's a documentary, and there's been documentaries done, but we want to do a motion picture, or we want to do a TV movie, whatever it is, on the life of Richard Pryor, and we would like you, Richard Pryor Jr., to play your dad. Would that be something that you would like to take on? Would that be something that would be a dream for you? Or would that be difficult to take on the role of your father in a movie if that came to pass?
Well, other than me physically having to get into that place where my father was, um, it would be something I would definitely have to look at because it's a challenge. I'm always like, I want a challenge. I want something. I want to do something that could be dark and could someone could go through. It would be an honor to be able to do something like that. Um, so personally, it was a thing that it wouldn't be a thing where I would say no. I would have to really seriously think about it, the pros and cons of doing that. But if it was something that I would do and be able to do and get something like that, I would delve into it 110%.
Even in your own life, Richard, are there things that you still have, like on your bucket list, things that you still want to master, things you still want to do as life, goes forward, things that you still want to make uniquely your own?
Right,
Because
right.
you've done that beautifully so far.
My one thing is I want to be on Broadway, and I'm still not giving up on that. I'm actually in a play called The Interrupted Journey, so I'm waiting on to see what happens with that. So it's a serious role based off the true story of Betty and Barney Hill, who were the interracial couple in the early '60s who were abducted by aliens, and there was he was on like To Tell the Truth, and there's they were hypnotized and told the exact same story of what happened to them. So I'm the lead in that. So that's something I'm really excited about. But I want to really just get a role, something that is seen nationally, something that everyone can see, something that has a worldwide release, where it's not a small role but a pivotal role in a film, and playing a role that is dark. I really want to tap into that because I know that the things that I've gone through in life, I know all those things that I've gone through, the hurt and the pain, the suffering, all those things are going to be able to tap into something, a character that I'm going to be able to utilize that for that part, and that's what I can taste that.
Could it be something that you would write yourself? You would write the screenplay. Have you thought of
Yeah,
writing something for
I
yourself?
I actually have thought of that. So that's one of the things because really like a psychological thriller or something of that nature. I would really, uh, I had that in my brain already. So there's something that I would really like to delve into. Um, and to make it to where everyone is something that everyone sees, because you have so many films that, especially when you're dealing with Hollywood, they're not going to do that, with the, African American character playing that part or something. It's like getting past that, showing them the substance of what it could be. If something's good, people are going to watch it, period.
That's right. They'll be drawn to it.
Hmm.
Exactly. I agree 100%. When you look at this extraordinary life you've had and you've tasted a lot of different things in your life that not everybody gets a chance to experience, and some of it extraordinary and positive and fabulous and beautiful, and you've been able to, you're a great source of inspiration and mentor, like Rain is, and it's because you guys you've found your own niche, you found who you are, and you had to go through various things in your lives to find out who you are because you have all of this, window dressing around, and you've been able to do it and maintain it. Not that every day is always perfect because it isn't for any of us, but and you're so willing to tell the story because you have such a strong desire, and I think that's what you're passionate about, even in all of the projects that you want to be a part of. You're not just going to grab any production and any job and any show or whatever. You really want things that make a positive impact in the lives of others, having experienced the depths of life in the way that you have, right, Richard?
Right, totally true. Totally true. Just that opportunity to be able to do that. That's the thing that's just that keeps you going. I mean, I know so many people that are my age would be in a place in their life where they would say, I just give up. It's not going to happen for me. I don't even think that way. I it I can't allow that to be a part of my brain. Um, I just can't, you know, because I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I know what makes me happy, what makes me feel good. I know what gets my adrenaline pumping and brings me joy and the satisfaction of being on stage to perform and to be able to be somebody else who you're not, being able to, you're being a shy guy and being able to be on stage and not be that shy person and be totally different than where you are. And that's what performing does for you. It gives you that outlet to come out of your shadow, come out of your insecurities, come out of your quietness, your meekness, come out of all those things. You're able to leave those things out on the stage. That's my
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. You know, when you look at everything in its totality, the life, the experience, what are some of those things, Richard, that continue to bring you the blessings, that continue to drive you, motivate you? Of course, your father, your mother as well, your family, you know, sources of great light, of wonderful inspiration for
my
you.
my strength is Christ right now.
Mm.
That's my strength right now. That's my strength. That's my beacon. That's my light. Um, that's my joy right now. Nothing like when you're going through being able to, put some gospel music in and just listen to it to soothe your soul. That's where I am right now, and that's where I get my strength from when I'm going through and I'm suffering is to pray. When I'm hurting and there's sorrow in my heart is to pray. When I've had losses that I can't understand why they're gone is to pray.
That is beautiful. Were you raised in a religious environment, or is that something that you found on your own?
On my own, because I was, I always went to church and things like that. But then you had the period where my mother was drinking that she didn't go, but we went. We always went. So there's the things where you do certain things for a certain period of time in your life, and then you stop doing, and then you realize when you get older and have gone through things and you struggle through things that where your strength lies, and you need to find out where your strength lies and know where your strength lies and keep that. And that's what I do.
And the love even of your own family as well, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Grandkids and things of that
yeah,
nature. That's a beautiful thing. You know,
oh, yeah,
you're surrounded by love within your own immediate
yeah,
environment.
exactly. Yeah.
That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. What would you say right now to somebody who's watching this and maybe they are struggling with something? Maybe they feel overwhelmed even by everything that they are seeing happen this year that we've all had to go
Yeah.
through. What would be a source of comfort and solace maybe that you could share, whether they're watching live now or they watch this in the archive later, Richard, as somebody who has
Please,
been able to go through so many things and come out the other side beautifully.
please, please, I adhere to you. Do not give up. Do not give up. Find something positive that you can find in front of you that you can grab a hold of, no matter how far away it is, and keep reaching for it. Never give up. When you fall down and you scrape your knees and all those things that you go through in life, the heartache and hurt and pain, know what you grabbed onto that you can pull that and you can still, and it's going to pull you towards it. And you keep going towards it no matter what, no matter what kind of obstacles are coming your way, who's talking negativity behind your back, who's telling you will never amount to anything, you will never be nothing. Look to what you grabbed onto and keep pulling on that. And don't let anything deter you. Put nothing but positive people around you. Get away from people that aren't doing you any good. Get away from people that want to keep you in the same situation you're in because they're in that same circle and situation. You want to push past that. Find you some people that are about something in life. Find some people in your life that are about the pluses versus the negatives. You want to have those people in your life. People that you thought you could never be around and camp around and sit around and talk around. Get those people around you to be a part of your life and a part of who you are. You want that in your life. You need it. You got to have it.
Beautifully said, beautifully said. And I mentioned, in the introduction that you have that minister background, and I can see that coming through loud and clear. Lots of people affected by the great advice. So true, Richard. Never give up. Hearts, best words ever. That's what keeps us all going. Thank you for your openness, your inspiration, your determination. God bless you, Richard. Lisa Ingram watching on YouTube. Hi, Lisa. Welcome. So amazing. Men. Really beautiful comments. I could see you, in addition to everything else that you've got your hands involved in, going on like motivational speaking tours when you're able to do that, and
Mhm.
like a TED talk and like these kinds of things too,
Mhm.
being sort of an inspirational leader because of your understanding of the human condition. I'm very similar to that. I'm
Mhm.
very in tune with people and the human condition and caring. And I've even said oftentimes, in my professional work and on this show, everything we've been going through this year, I hope that we don't go back to any sense of normal. I hope we go to better, and that we come out of this more loving, empathetic. We care more about one another. We're friendlier towards each other. All the divisiveness just ends, and we bring things together. And you seem to be of that same mindset. You understand
Mhm.
people's plights and when they're hurting and when they need healing. We're on a similar wavelength with that as sort of caretaker types and
Yeah.
communicators.
True.
And I could see you doing like TED Talks and motivational
Oh, definitely.
speaking and even life coaching type stuff. Have you thought of
Definitely.
any of that?
Oh yeah, I've thought of it. I just don't. I just need to figure out how to go about making that happen. But yes, it definitely is something that's. I know it's part of who I am.
It's automatically there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's automatically there, Richard. I hear it and I see it. Christine and Clifton in North Carolina says, surround ourselves with light and positivity and never give up. Thanks for your words of wisdom and your openness. Very inspirational, Richard.
Thank you.
Kathy says, I agree, Jim. We need each other more than ever. It's so true, Richard. And, again, you continue to share the blessing. The book is extraordinary. Do you see another book down the line for you, too? Was that
Oh yeah,
just the
definitely.
start of one?
This is start of one.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. Well, this was fantastic, my friend, and I really appreciate all the time and all the openness. And I knew people would love this conversation. And you have an extraordinary story to tell. And what I love about it is you pay homage to your extraordinary, legendary, funny as hell dad. You pay homage to your mother, your family members, but you've also carved out, and it took time to figure it out, but you've carved out who Richard Pryor Jr. is. Junior. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful. I'm a junior as well, so I know the carving out thing.
Right.
It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to do that and to want to share that with the world as you do so beautifully, my friend.
Thank you so much.
Well, this was really fantastic, and I really hope you enjoyed your time with me, Richard. It was
Yeah,
great catching up
totally.
with you.
You're a great host. Definitely.
I appreciate that. I try to make it comfortable in a warm atmosphere,
Yeah.
and it's like Irish 43 says, love one another.
Yeah.
And Mary
Definitely.
Bishop says, once again, wonderful, positive conversation. Thank you, Jim and Richard. Stay safe. Thank you, Mary, as well.
Thank you so much.
Richard, you're amazing, and I really appreciate the time. You're welcome back anytime, my friend. And
Thank
I hope
you.
we get a chance to get together and break bread again,
Yeah.
in the
That'd be
same
nice.
location and catch up again.
Be wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
The best. Anne says, love this interview. Richard is super open and an honest guy. Jennifer Barry says, thank you, Richard, as well. Lots of lovely coming your way from the show here, Richard.
Thank you so much, guys, and you guys take care.
You have a good night. You take care, my
All
friend.
right.
We'll see you again soon, and thanks for being on the show.
Okay. See you soon. Bye bye.
One more from Crystal. Thank you for sharing your story, Richard. You're amazing. That's a
Thank
good
you.
way to
Yes,
cap
it
it.
is. Good night, people.
Take care, my friend.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye now. Amazing, right? Really amazing. Thank you, Crystal and Merlin and Anne and Jennifer and Mary and Irish 43 and Kathy and on and on. Great night. My pleasure and Richard's pleasure as well. We've been looking forward to this. You were awesome to listen to, Richard. Absolutely. Thank you, Richard. He can see all these comments as well. Yeah. Yes, Melba and you come along when we get together, right? June, we have a lot of people to get together with when we're able to, right? Kathy as well. My pleasure and my honor to welcome him to the show. And I knew that he was going to be open and authentic and warm and affable because that's his personality. His sister Rain is exactly like that as well. And if you go back in the archives, you can see the phenomenal conversation I had with his sister Rain Pryor as well. And that was hilarious too because I think the dogs came in and jumped on her lap, and we have some fun on the show. If you're just joining us for the first time, I'm your host, Jim Masters. We're here every night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. This is an entertainment lifestyle talk show series. We've got amazing guests. We go on location. We do food, comedy, music, television. Some of my celebrity friends from TV and film and Broadway and Hollywood come on, and so much more. I do this kind of work for a living, professionally as a TV and radio personality and host and actor, journalist, writer, producer, stage MC, voiceover artist, all that fun stuff. And Diane says, that was amazing. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Jim, for hosting. My pleasure, Diane. It's a pleasure to meet you as well on Facebook, and I hope you'll join us regularly here on the Jim Masters Show live. We're similar, spirits, Rain, Richard, myself, some of the fabulous lovities that are here in the way we think about people and the way we want to communicate, and we want to be joyful, and we want to share blessings through our art form, through our careers, through our work. We're blessed to do work that we love. We're blessed to be surrounded by loving family and friends, and all of you. I'm blessed to have all of you here watching our show every night and sharing the links and doing all that fun stuff. And it's really, really important that we all do, stay together. That's really, really what it's all about. Sherry says, another great interview. Thank you for sharing your story with us. You are very, very welcome. Kathy as well. Absolutely. Such a fun guy, a fun night. I knew you guys would love it. Thank you again, Diane. Kathy, that was a great show. I learned a lot about the man. That's what I try to do on the show. Actually, I've interviewed, I think, about 6,000 people in my professional work in TV and radio. And everybody's always surprised because a lot of times, when they do and I don't even call these interviews on this show, I call them conversations. We're bringing back the art of conversation here on the Jim Masters Show, sort of in the old school way, the way that it was done before, and but yet with the modern vibe and positive modern sensibilities of today. So some of the old school way of like the Dick Cavitts and all of those shows in the past with some of the modern sensibilities of today. And it's really cool because people are craving this art of conversation and bringing it back. And I think every guest, I'm gonna have to do a whole show just on the notes and the letters and the calls that I get from the guests after they're on the show, and how much they thoroughly enjoyed it and how they loved this opportunity and venue that we've created, this community we've created here on air, online, where they can be themselves and they can feel comfortable and not threatened and not, judged, because I'm not the type of person that judges anyway. I'm not a fan of judgmental people. So I think there's too much of that in our world anyway. So I get all of these incredible letters. I mean, even we had Bart Chateau last night, and I had this extraordinary note from him. It's really extraordinary. And you guys, like you say, you learn so much about the guests and about me too, because as the guests are opening up, I'm opening up. We're all opening up. You guys are very expressive with your comments. And as a host who really appreciates the audience, viewers, listeners, and so much more, I like to bring the viewers in. This is a very viewer-centric show. And I like the guests to also see the comments coming in from the viewers. And you guys really shared and showered the love on Richard, which I think is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And he gave us a great amount of time, which we appreciate. Thank you, Jim. This show is addicting, and the right kind of addiction, and I love that. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That means a lot because we work very, very hard on this show every single day to pull it off technically, to pull it off in an enjoyable way. There's always, I'm probably like Richard, where my wheels are always turning of different things we can do and elements we can add and things we can tweak to make it entertaining, informative, educational, fun, light. Sometimes we go deep as well. Whatever it is, we have a format, we have a structure to the show, but there's also a lot of room and openness. A lot of times when you have conversations like what we just had, you get 10 minutes and that's it. Or maybe 20 minutes, and you got to jam it all in, jam in video, jam in photos, rush the guests. And I never like to do that. And that's why we have time. We have all the time in the world to chat with you, to chat with the guests, and to do all the other fun segments we like to do here on the Jim Masters Show live. So thank you for that. Uplifting story from Richard. Yeah, we talked about the things that you would typically talk about: the celebrity factor, his father, the extraordinary, legendary, brilliant comic Richard Pryor, his family, growing up, all of that. But then he also opened up about the realities of what it was like growing up the son of Richard Pryor, and also the love that he and his father had always had, and how he still respects his father, and he understands the things that his father went through, and that he also said, and I had always heard as well, and Rain also mentioned it too when she was on, that Richard Pryor actually was a very quiet, shy, humble man. On stage he was a bullet, he was amazing, and that there's a lot of performers, a lot of people on air, whether it's television, radio, stage, singers, actors, whatever, Broadway, it could be anything, who when they are off air, off stage, when the lights aren't on, they're quiet people. You see them in a restaurant, they're quiet, they're not always on, and that's the way it is. Even me, there's days where obviously I can talk and fill, time, but there's days when I love to just be in the pajamas, and I like a good rainy day, or, it's a autumn day and we're having hot chocolate and we're watching reruns on TV and we don't have to be anywhere, don't have to do anything, and you're with family, and you're just relaxing and you're having a grilled cheese sandwich, tomato soup, and a hot cocoa, and I'm good. Like on a Sunday or something, so everybody needs that. Sherry says, we're very blessed to have you every night too, Jim. Even if I can't be here right when you start the show, I always check in because my night doesn't seem complete without seeing you and all the lovelies. That's a beautiful thing. I really appreciate that, Sherry. That moves me, that touches me, because I think what has happened with this show, which is what I was hoping in the beginning would eventually happen, is that you guys would feel, sometimes it's even hard to put in words, but you guys do a great job of putting it in words, the love and the not just the work that goes into this, but also the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it's almost like therapy for everybody, isn't it? We have a good time, we have a lot of laughs, we have great entertainment, we have all these cool elements to the show, but it's bringing us together. It's creating this beautiful community through the auspices of what is like a television show. This isn't a podcast or just like an online, Facebook Live or something. This is really created to be like a television show, using all of my TV background with the style of it, and open and close and all these different things. So I'm glad that you guys are experiencing that, and you're feeling that enough to where it brings you back. And we have new people who join us all the time. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And again, as somebody who does this work professionally, to have created something like this, build a home studio and do all of this, I think it's really special and really cool that if I didn't turn the lights on in May and create this, many of you, there's a few people here who are friends that I've known prior. And speaking of Pryor, I've known Richard and his sister Rain for several years now, and they're wonderful people and great friends. So they were generous both to come on the show and open up about their lives. They didn't have to open up about their lives. They could have just talked about, you know, the things they do in their career and their father, whatever they wanted to do. I always have an open, environment here, but they did a wonderful job. But I think it's wonderful, when you have an opportunity to express yourself in the way that I do here. You guys are very expressive, and I think that's beautiful. And you're getting the vibe. There's a million shows out there. There's a million different things out there, but I think we've created something really special. And I think because I do this for a living, elsewhere, TV and radio, the fact that we are doing this, it's a blessing because people have wanted me to do this for years, and I never had the time to do it the way I wanted to do it right, to put the time in and to have it, I'm always thinking of ways to perfect this and to do it right, to where people aren't just watching filler. I'm not just doing some quick little thing, a quick joke or, a quick song or just whatever, that you're left with something where you're like, wow, that was good. I feel good about myself. I feel good. I want more. Can't wait till tomorrow night. And I get that from all of you. I get all these notes and texts and Facebook and messages all day long. And I think it's really beautiful. I think it's very, very cool. And that just drives me more. That just motivates me more to continue doing this show, every day right now for you guys. So it's a beautiful thing, and I appreciate all these wonderful words, Francis. I see you work very hard on this show, Jim. You, Jim, are looking very tired. I look tired tonight? No, we're good. Yeah, well, actually, I'm wide awake. I slept late today. What time did I get up? I think it was 11 a.m., which for me is late because there's so much stuff I have to do. I have a really, really busy week coming up in my professional work. As a television and radio personality and host, there's about 7 or 8 radio show episodes I have to anchor and host, and then there's scripts to write. There's this show, of course, and then there's television work as well. So I've got on my professional side, it's a very busy week this coming week. And boy, do we have some amazing guests too. Bart, yeah, it's funny. Bart was terrific last night. I should find that note. It's actually on my cell phone, and share. Maybe I'll put a show together, like a pop-up show, and I'll read to you some of the feedback that I get from the guests. It's really cool because most of them, after we do the show, everybody wants to go out to dinner with everybody. Everybody's like, hey, when I'm in New York or LA or here or there, let's get together. And that seems to be what's happening. Kathy, you do a great job, Jim, especially making everyone feel comfortable and getting all this info for us. I'm just glad I found the show. We're very glad that you found the show as well, Kathy. I appreciate that. Hey, Jim, speaking of Pajama Day, where is your chair there? We have chairs over there, and there's a big sofa over there, and another one over there, and chairs over there. Christine Clifton, thanks, Jim, for bringing back old school conversation, and you can see how we all are embracing that. It is desperately needed now in our country and world. Thank you very much, Christine. And again, I really thank you for all of your love and support. And, you're so gracious to post the shows on your Facebook page and share and tag and do all that you can do to spread the word and, aid in the growth of this show. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So hats off to you, and I really appreciate that. And I want to get another pop-up show going because I know you guys like the host chat. So I want to see when I can get one of those going. I'll try to get a pop-up show, as soon as I can, because I'd love to tell you some other cool things that are happening. Jen is zen outside on the mountain field. Now mountains and fresh air. Jen is zen. The fact that you guys drove to the mountains and you're in a tent and you're watching this show, I think is really cool. That is loyalty. Are you watching it on your cell phone? Is that how you're seeing it? If you're in the tent, I'm glad you're getting even a cell phone signal or Wi-Fi signal if you're watching this in a tent in the mountains, because you love the mountains. We know that. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. Thanks for all these great comments, everybody. Anne says, Anne in wonderful SoCal. Yes, Jim, you've created something very special. We are truly blessed. Thank you, Anne. I appreciate that. And you're here all the time. I really, really appreciate that. And really, really beautiful words. Frances as well. She always has beautiful words too. Yes, special we have. And for what it's worth, Jim, I do not watch talk shows, but have been watching this pretty steadily. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, you're not going to see any hair pulling or slapping or tables being turned or any, not on this show. There's other shows where you can see all of that, but not here. It's all, good positivity. And if we can educate and inform you at the same time while we're entertaining you, cool thing. Because believe me, I'm learning along the way when I chat with everybody. When I chat with you guys, I learn about your lives. Some of you write to me privately and you open up about your lives, and I really appreciate that. And I try, sometimes, I get so busy juggling this with my professional work and family and friends and all, and just the craziness of this year. I can't write back as quickly as I would love to, but I try to get to everybody as much as I can, and I thank you for all of that. Oh, you fell yesterday. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you're feeling better today. You must be tired. Yeah, you rest and you take care of yourself, Francis. You be well, Like we've said, you got to take care of you as much as taking care of everybody else, and that's something I've had to learn. Carol says, from PBS host to your very own show, so happy for you and hope you continue after the world is back to normal. Carol, I appreciate that. You've watched my work on public television over the years. That's beautiful. You're watching on YouTube on Jim Masters TV. And I still work with public television as well, and all kinds of different shows I do. But thank you. I appreciate that, Carol. It's beautiful words from you and very, very kind of you. And if you missed anything, Renee, go back in the archives, as I know you do, on Jim Masters TV. We had a brilliant conversation with our friend Richard Pryor Jr. He was just amazing. And his book is really, really cool. Before we wrap up, I'll show the cover again. Watching, again, Out to Eat, but taking a long time for the food. What kind of food are you getting that's taking a long time? Are they doing steaks or something? Or Frances says that she slipped on the floor. Ooh. In the afternoon, slipped on water on the tile floor, pretty sore. Oh boy, that's a tough one. Well, I hope everything is better for you and you're not in pain. That was amazing. Sorry I dropped off. Pamela Perkle, thank you very much. You should get an Emmy or a Grammy for all these interviews. A lot of people are saying that because of the length. Some of them, go even longer. But yeah, I think there are things for the internet. I'll have to say, I've received awards in my television work and radio work over the years, my professional work. But I think, the Scott Schwartz one was almost 6 hours. We just got into a conversation and he had so much to say. I just let it roll. People say, how the heck could you have done that? I don't know. We just, he had a lot to say, and it was really cool. And now when he comes to the East Coast, he wants to go to White Castle hamburgers together. And I think he's coming to the East Coast next month, he said. So if we can do that, with the social distancing and everything. Thank you. I appreciate the beautiful words, Pamela. Oh, that sounds good. Thank you. I appreciate that as well. That's beautiful for you to say that. And Jennifer's in her tent. Tent is right behind Ken. We've never met Ken, but Ken is a star on this show too, because you give a lot of props to Ken, that's for sure. And that's fantastic. Sitting in chairs on the mountain field. I made Wi-Fi work. I need my Jim's show where I am. That's Lovity. And you're watching on the cell phone. Is Ken saying, hey, what about me? Why are you watching Jim? I drove all the way here, took you up into the mountains, we're in a tent, and you're watching Jim Masters? unless Ken is enjoying it too. So if he's enjoying it too, then that's a good thing. It's double levity. Hello to Ken, the other half of your Zen. Good to see you, June. Absolutely. We do all the time. Love to the family. And good night, Jim, and all the lovelies. Good show, Marilyn. Thank you very much. And everybody who has been watching. I really appreciate all these fantastic comments, too, and all the levity coming our way. Want to let you know, tomorrow, a very, very special show tomorrow. People are really excited about it. It's almost seemingly the last several Sundays have been like Irish night, but we have some amazing guests coming up throughout. Colm Keegan, yes, the wonderful Colm Keegan is going to be here tomorrow, and he's going to be live. I believe he's in Ireland tomorrow, so it'll be like midnight for him. He has his own brilliant career. He's about 25 years old or so. I've met him before. I've interviewed him on public television numerous times. A member of Celtic Thunder, that fantastic Irish group. And he also has his own career as well. Colm Keegan is going to be here exclusively live tomorrow. That's Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, live. If you're in Australia or New Zealand, it's morning time. If you are in England or Ireland or Scotland, it's like midnight. And we appreciate Colm joining us. He's all excited. I believe he's also going to perform live for us as well, kind of like Neil Byrne did and Ryan Kelly did as well. And we, of course, had Paul Byram last week. So tomorrow, Colm Keegan is going to be here for a very special show. There's been a lot of buzz about that one. And then on Monday, Barry Pearl is going to be here. Barry Pearl is a phenomenal actor that's been in some of your favorite TV shows, dramas, and sitcoms over the years. But also, if you see the photo that's on the screen now, you see on the left, he was in the 1978 movie Grease. That's right. There he is on the left. There he is today. He's a phenomenal, legendary actor. He's here on Monday, and we're very, very excited about that. That's going to be fantastic to have him here. And then on Tuesday, we've got a phenomenal actress and singer. This is Donna Ravino, and she is here. She's been in a lot. She's a musical theater actress. She's been in Cats and a lot of major Broadway shows, a lot of incredible Broadway productions. She's a singer. And those of you in the New York area, you may remember a show called The Uncle Floyd Show. That is her uncle. So those of you that remember The Uncle Floyd Show, that was sort of like a fun comedy show that aired in the New York area on one of the TV stations. He is her uncle. So there's acting and comedy and all of that in her blood. And then on Wednesday, we have Daniel Kinnear. Daniel Kinnear is a brilliant guitarist, singer, and songwriter. He's going to be here live exclusively. Boy, I tell you, that's a lot of work lining up all these guests and all the emails back and forth and looking at the calendar and booking and getting it all set up and getting it ready. But boy, are we having fun doing it for you guys. Daniel is excited. Daniel is going to be here on Wednesday, and we've got an amazing show there as well. Once again, we want to thank our very, very special guest, the one and only Richard Pryor Jr., for being on our show today. He was really, really fantastic. A straight shooter, authentic, great photo there with his dad, and there with his sister Rain, of course, and all the incredible things he's accomplished. And he's just got himself immersed in so many cool things. And as he mentioned, there's some wonderful projects that he has coming up, and he'll keep us posted on that, and I can announce that in future shows. And also, there he is when he was in the Navy. That's a really cool shot. And you do see the resemblance. You definitely see the resemblance, absolutely. Like father, like son with the resemblance. He doesn't see it, he says, but you do definitely see it, especially in the eyes. Really cool experiences that he's had in his life. there we are together, Richard and Rain, brother and sister, and we had a wonderful time when they were performing together at the Metropolitan Room in New York City. That was a fantastic evening of comedy and music and stories and dinner, and with several of our other friends that were there as well. There is his book as well, In a Pryor Life, Richard Pryor Jr., with Ron Rauer. I urge you to pick that up if you want a really good read, a riveting read, and a really inspiring read as well. And there he is, of course, with his dad, Richard Pryor, the legendary, late, and extraordinary comic genius, and who, of course, was in a ton of movies. These are just some of them that you may remember. And again, Scott Schwartz was on, who was in The Toy with Richard Pryor and Jackie Gleason, and they're Stir Crazy and See No Evil, Hear No Evil with Gene Wilder. Richard Pryor was in that. On and on and on. And the very favorite of all the movies that Richard did, and that his son Richard Jr. loves, is this one, which was fantastic. Which Way Is Up, where he plays several different parts, and he said he sees himself, Richard Jr. sees essences of himself in this movie that Richard Pryor was in. Great guy, terrific, terrific person, and again, he's got so much going for him, and he's been around the block, he's experienced life, and we're so happy that he's so blessed, and that he wanted to share his time with us here on the Jim Masters Show Live. A good, solid conversation, lots of good stories shared. And we really appreciate that. So just some of the photos that we collected here. And of course, we are glad you enjoyed that fantastic clip of him singing Superstition. That was at the Metropolitan Room in New York City. And he does have a great voice. He really belted it out. So cool stuff. More comments coming in here. Let's see. And Pamela Perkle, thank you very much. You have a good night, Pamela, there in Kansas City. And your food finally got there. Fantastic. Eat. What was it, a steak? They have to bring the cow in or something? Enjoy. Whatever your dinner is, enjoy. We will be here for an amazing show tomorrow. Jennifer Barry says, Ken is happy. So Ken has given you the blessing that you're occupied with me and my show. That's terrific. We love Ken. We appreciate that. Scotland. Colm is in Scotland. So it's going to be about midnight for Colm Keegan. George lived in Scotland as well, of course, from Celtic Thunder, who we all lost. He lives in Scotland. So it's going to be about midnight for him as well, just like it was for Neil and Ryan and Paul Byram, too, who was on last week. If you missed any of those... I know for those of you who like the Irish and the Celtic Thunder and all of those experiences, we've done interviews with Ryan Kelly. We've done interviews with Neil Byrne. Colm Keegan is coming up tomorrow. Paul Byram was last week. And earlier we did my dear friend, Mairead Nesbitt. She's a wonderful friend, and we've known each other for years. Did a fabulous interview, an extended interview with her and Chloe Agnew as well. They were with Celtic Woman, of course, and lots of other productions. Those you can see as well. And you are beyond excited to see Colm on tomorrow's show, so he'll be live from Scotland tomorrow. We appreciate him doing that. Looks like he'll be performing for your birthday. Fabulous. Colm Keegan, can't wait. Excellent. You have to get your workout done before this? That is funny. Oh, he's in Glasgow. Okay, Glasgow. Good. I know that Paul, Neil, and Ryan were in Ireland. And Colm is in Scotland, and George was in Scotland. And Damien, I forgot about Damien. We also did a fabulous interview, and Damien played live as well. Damien McGinty. That is also on. You can find all of these on the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. And I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost anything. Click the notification bell as well, so you keep abreast of all of the fantastic content that we're uploading there. Not just Jim Masters Show Live episodes, but other content we post there as well, because we're going to be doing even more and more and more with YouTube. Facebook is getting a little tricky with some of their music restrictions and things of that nature for a lot of the artists. Fortunately, our show is everything. We don't just do music, but for those that do just music, the October 1st there's going to be some big restrictions with playing of music and things of that nature, I know, on Facebook. So it's going to make it difficult for a lot of people. And that is something that's actually happening on October 1st for a lot of people. So we do some music here as well. We're not based just on music because this is an entertainment lifestyle talk show series. So as you can see, we have everything and people from all walks of life and backgrounds and fields of endeavor and success levels. So that's cool for us. But if somebody's going to do like a lot of music or something like that, we'll probably do that more towards YouTube and Periscope and Twitch than on the Facebook down the line. So if you've heard about that with Facebook doing that is happening October 1st. So for those people who just do music, it's going to be a trickier situation. Again, we do everything on this show with some music sprinkled in. Night, be back tomorrow. That is fantastic. We love that. And 31 already. Wow. Yes, I know. He's got 2 kids and he's married, and I know so many blessings have come into his life, right, Carol? And I know you're a big fan as well. I forgot that he's 31. I still have him pegged as 25. Wow. Time flies. I think it was maybe it was around 25, 24 when I first met him. So I still have him locked in that age. He's all excited. We've been communicating the last couple of days, and he can't wait to be here tomorrow. And I know you'll be here as well, watching on YouTube. Everybody share the YouTube channel with your friends too, because sometimes Facebook can be a little finicky. So you want to never miss anything. Make sure you are subscribed and connected to our YouTube channel, because that's where we archive everything. Everything is saved on in order too. Everything is saved in order of how the episodes are airing, and you've got the full episodes there intact. You don't have like all this other stuff in between. You have that whole devoted section on the YouTube channel to the Jim Masters Show Live. We formatted it that way so it could be easy for you to watch, the episodes, because a lot of people like to binge watch the episodes. Just below that, we have something called Masters Mantras, which are these inspirational videos that I've been doing, which grew out of my comments that I've done on Facebook, hashtag Masters Mantras. People wanted more of that, so we turned and I still do them on Facebook, Masters Mantras, and Instagram and Twitter at Jim Masters TV. But we've done them in video form, and that's also on the Jim Masters TV channel at YouTube. And then a bunch of other video too of commercials I've done and documentaries I've hosted and TV shows and different things. Not my whole career, but just little clips there, sprinkled there. Thanks for that update, Carol. Ken waves hi to you, Jim. Hey, Ken. I hope it's warm and not too cold tonight. Ken's happy I watch you on your show. I'm occupied then. I'm not bothering my man Ken. So go off and watch the Jim Masters Show. Go ahead. That is funny. Jen is Zen with Ken. Oh, that sounds like a TV show, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound like a new sitcom, Jennifer Barry? Jen is Zen with Ken. Write that down. Love the Navy. Was in it for 20 years, I know, and we thank you so much for your service. Several of my cousins were in the Navy. In school, I was in the Air Force ROTC, and that was great training. We used to, I was in the color guard too, and that was fantastic training in the Air Force ROTC. Really enjoyed that. Did the whole Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts thing too. We went on a lot of camping trips as well, like Jen and Ken are. Good night, everyone. Another great conversation. Stay safe. You too, Mary. And you have a good night, Pamela. Wishing everyone a blessed Sunday. I could easily wrap, but I just wanted to acknowledge everybody here, and then we'll wrap up. And let's see. Lampkin Music. Good evening watching on Periscope. Good night, Jim and everyone. Thank you for a great conversation. Good night, Jim. Thanks for another great night of conversation. Looking forward to our friend Colm Keegan, live from Scotland. Yes, Damien McGinty. He's out in California. So for him, it wasn't bad because actually we should start our show at 7 p.m. Eastern. So for him, it was 4 p.m. Pacific. So if you didn't see that episode, you can see it right on the Jim Masters TV channel, which we're building and growing and growing. And a lot of people have been joining that channel, and we love that. We're just really focusing on that YouTube channel. So feel free to spread the word, spread the love. We appreciate that, and it's really cool. Damien McGinty. Yeah, I've been friends with we just stayed friends. When they first came in to public television, and, I was tasked with co-hosting and interviewing them. Several people through the years on public television, we've stayed in touch with them, and they with me, and we see them at functions and events, concerts, and in the studio, and it's very cool. That's the way life should be, right? Everybody, take care and support one another. Sherry says, have a wonderful night. See everyone again tomorrow evening. Sleep well. You too, Sherry. Jennifer says, can we do Slancha now? Yes, on the mountain field, Slancha. Carol says, I'm sure Colm will be happy to hear how old you think he is. Right. Yes, we are all 25 on this show, Carol. Everybody that watches this show becomes a lovety, and we're all 25. Right? Including you, Carol. We're all 25. Love it. Good night, loveties, and good night to you. Great show, great guests coming up throughout the week. Lots of levity, cool stuff going on. Again, we thank once again our terrific friend, Richard Pryor Jr. for being here. He was a great, great guest and a good friend. Another comment coming in. Wishing Jim a good night. Also, everyone else that was on and is still on, including you, Francis. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. Don't forget to relax, take care of one another, breathe, love one another. We talk about that a lot on this show, and this thing we purchased in Newport, Rhode Island a few years ago really has become so much a part of this show. I didn't purchase this for the show. This was actually something we found in a gift shop when we were with the family on a mini vacation in Newport, Rhode Island. And, I saw it here in the house, and it was on a shelf, and I said, this would be great for the show. So we've been showing this. It used to sit like, in the corner, I think over here somewhere. And then I said, you know what, I'll just show it and I'll bring it out. And so everybody relax. You guys take care of one another. Love the word relax. And again, you can see that Newport, Rhode Island sort of beach scene there. See the people, there you go, right there. Beach scene. Cool stuff. So relax, take care of one another, breathe from the diaphragm. You don't have to be a singer or an announcer to breathe from the diaphragm. And what the heck? Everybody likes the blue star, so we've got the blue star here. There you go. There it is. I might be the host and producer and star of the show, but you guys are the stars as well. Now, where are you going to find that? What host is going to say you're the star as well? And this isn't an episode of Search for the Stars as well, or Reach for the Stars. What was that? Star Search. Star Search. Reach for the Stars. You guys are the stars as well. All right, gang. We're going to wrap up. Everybody's here. We toast you again. Thanks you and you and you and you and you and you for being with us tonight on this episode of the Jim Masters Show Live. Great guest, great conversation, great entertainment. Plus, we did a little host chat afterwards as well. I was going to wrap the show up, after we wrapped with our fantastic guest, Richard Pryor Jr., but I figured, you know what? We're still here. We're together. So a little host chat to check in with you guys and see how everybody's doing on this Saturday of this weekend here in September. One more reminder, on September 24th, which is my birthday, we do have the Voices of Classic Soul joining us, and that's going to be amazing. We've mentioned it before, but if you weren't aware of that, they are from the Temptations, the Platters, the Drifters, and the Four Tops. And they love this show, and they approached us and said, hey, we want to come on the show. When can we come on? We looked at dates. Initially, I didn't have any guests on the 24th of September. I left that, open so we can do like a birthday show with all of you. But then I said, you know what, it could be kind of fun to have them on the show on the 24th, on the actual birthday day. So they're going to be here on September 24th live, the Voices of Classic Soul. Again, they're members of the Temptations, the Four Tops, the Drifters, and the Platters. And that's going to be amazing. Really, really cool stuff. So, toasting you. You have a good rest of your day. If it's daytime or if you're just starting your day, good morning, good night from wherever you are around the world. A little sip. Really good. This is very good. This is the organic iced tea lemonade from Trader Joe's, actually. And it's really, really good. Not too sweet. All right, gang. Love you all. Thanks for being with us. We're going to sign off. Have a good night. I wish you blessings throughout the evening. We'll see you on Facebook and all the other suspect places. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch, all at Jim Masters TV. Have a good night. Thanks for being with us. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. I'll see you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, right here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Good night.